Welcome back to the Untouchaballs podcast. Caden and Leo here. Caden, how you doing today?
Doing pretty good, Max. How about yourself?
No complaints here. Another week closer to the beginning of college football, Caden, which means we're going to jump right into our Big Ten win totals.
Yeah, it'd be kind of same thing we did last week with the Big 12. We're going to go through every team, give our prediction for the over-under for all the Big Ten teams this upcoming football season. Then we'll end it with our conference champion pick. And yeah, see where it goes from there. I'd assume start from the bottom like we did
Let's
last week,
do
work
it.
way up. Well, the bottom of the Big Ten is the Purdue Boilermakers
Lord.
at 2.5 wins.
Caden, I'm going to have to hit the under. Unfortunately, they're coming off a one win a year ago. If they doubled their win total, they are still underneath that over-under. And with, almost losing their entirety of their team last year, they have like the lowest return rate of any team in the Big Ten. It's going to be a struggle for them to get some wins, especially in such a tough conference, Caden. And unfortunately, Purdue is just a basketball school.
Yeah, Purdue's a basketball school for sure. Like, it's possible they could start 2-0 this year against Ball State and Southern Illinois. But I don't see them winning a single conference game. Don't see them beating Notre Dame in an out-of-conference game that
It's going to be rough.
I think is kind of like, yeah, what you're saying. They had one win last year. They're not really an improved team by any means. So, yeah, I think it's good old Purdue under 2.5. Next, we have the Northwestern Wildcats sitting at 3.5 wins.
Caden, this one's also a little bit iffy. You look at the non-conference games, they open up, and you can get some wins there. But once again, with a conference that's as tough as it is, trying to crack over that 3.5 is going to be very iffy. I'm going to have to take the under again here.
Yeah, this is tough because I think there might be sitting right around that 3-4 wins.
I think so.
Because they get to play Purdue, should be a win. You get to play Louisiana Monroe, Western Illinois. That's 3 wins, most likely right there. The iffy one is they start the year at Tulane. Like, if they win that, I think they probably go over.
Yeah.
But also, you're going against, we talked about last week, now Jake Retzlaff's over there as the quarterback. I think Tulane will probably be kind of like they have been the last couple years, one of the better group of 5 teams throughout college football on the road. Yeah, I think we're going to be 2 for 2. I don't think this Northwestern team, kind of like Purdue, is really any improved from last year when they were not that good of a team. I think it's going to be kind of the same this year where they might only get one conference win, and that being the game against Purdue. So we'll ride the under with you there as well. Now we got the Maryland Terrapins sitting at 4.5 wins on their over-under mix.
Caden, this one's also a little bit interesting because this Maryland team's shown like flashes of they've been able to get a couple sneaky wins, right? They've been able to have a couple good games a season, and that's kind of what they're good for. 4.5, it kind of plays. You're gonna have to see what they actually come out and show. What's the opening non-conference games, Caden?
They open non-conference with Florida Atlantic, Northern Illinois, and Towson.
Yeah, those are winnable games, right, Caden? So you say 2/3 of those. You're coming out with 2 wins off the start. You're still pushing for 3 more wins in this conference, and as tough as it is, Caden, I think you might have to go with the under here.
Yeah, this one's tough because you look at it, the non-conference is pretty easy. Like, it's an easy non-conference schedule. You get to play some of these middle-of-the-road teams at home where you get Nebraska at home, you get Washington at home.
Whoa. We're talking about Nebraska.
I know, I'm just saying, so they have some of these middle-of-the-road games, like games they could end up winning. They get the home field advantage there, get to play there. It's going to be tough, like you said, because they've shown flashes of being good. I think I will go the over here because I think 3 wins out of non-conference, I think they get that. I could see them beating, you get to play Rutgers. Yeah, no, I'm going to go Maryland over 4.5. I think they get 2 conference wins in there. Go 3-0 out of conference, be able to sit in right there about 5 wins come season's end.
All right.
Now is the Wisconsin Badgers sitting at 5.5.
Yeah, okay, and this is a Wisconsin team that used to have a really good tradition of football, kind of teetered down over the last couple of years. They're still trying to find their identity, get back to, the brand of football that they've been so accustomed to playing, Caden. And I kind of like this, Wisconsin team to be a sneaky one to become bowl eligible and crack those 6 wins, Caden, to be honest. They're gonna have to grind out some games. They're gonna have to come up with some big wins in this conference.
Mhm.
That's tough, but I do like them to get over here.
Yeah, they get to play Miami, Ohio, Middle Tennessee to start the year. Should be a good start for them. Then they have to go to Bama to end the non-conference play. So I think that's a loss. 5.5 is interesting. Seeing them be bowl eligible. Get Maryland at home, Iowa at home. It's tough with Wisconsin because they're kind of very like wishy-washy in my
Yes,
eyes. Like they'll either go out, look like one of the best teams in the conference, put on a show, and then the next week you just see them kind of throw a dud out there.
correct.
And with this team, I don't know. I feel like we're not going to end up seeing them bowl eligible. I think this Wisconsin team's going to end up sitting right around that 4 or 5 wins come season end, not that 6 plus that they didn't need to go over. So I will be going Badgers under on this season. Now we got Rutgers also sitting at 5.5.
Caden, again, kind of a wishy-washy. Same thing with Wisconsin here. Rutgers does have a decent amount of returners coming back, but when you look at the away games, Caden, and where Rutgers has to travel, it's pretty rough.
Not a great schedule for them. I mean, non-conference is pretty easy, but come conference time, got to go to Illinois. You're going to Minnesota, to Washington. Hey, you get Penn State and Oregon at home. I don't think that's going to change anything.
I got the under hardcore on this one, Caden. It's going to be a rough year.
I also have the under on Rutgers. I just, like you said, they are a wishy-washy team, but I think kind of less than Maryland, where I don't ever think of Rutgers as being possibly one, or not Maryland, or Wisconsin, as one of like week in, week out. I don't see them looking like a top team in the conference, or Wisconsin could come out, put on a show. And you're like, okay, maybe there's something there. Rutgers could come out, put on a show. I'm like, okay, that was cool. I don't expect more than that. I expect less than that usually with Rutgers, with the Scarlet Knights, and I think they're not a bowl eligible team. I think they as well will be sitting right at the under of that 5.5. Another 5.5 here is Michigan State.
Caden, this one's always interesting, right? Because that's the little brother, of Michigan there in the beautiful state. But it's going to be kind of interesting to see how they kind of find their way and play, because this is a Spartans team that's shown years where they can get really hot and put together solid teams and compete and get some good wins. But I just don't know if in today's NIL era and the way money is so dominant, if they really have the funds and the big names to compete and really get themselves out there. Caden, I'm gonna have to take the under on this one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you once again because I don't have any faith in quarterback Aiden Childs. I think we saw him last year. Didn't look great. I know another year in the system, another year under his belt, just being a starting quarterback. We expect to see some improvements, but I also just don't think he's that good of a quarterback in general. So that right there kind of discredits them. The schedule doesn't look great for them either. Like I could see them losing a non-conference game to Boston College. Then you get to conference, not great, especially like opponents and where it's at. So just as long as well as you, I mean, I'm riding that Spartans under 5.5. Our last 5.5 win total team is the UCLA Bruins.
Caden, again, a team that's had kind of a historic name and put out so many talents to the NFL over the years that you think they'd be able to figure out, but just coming from the Pac-12 into the Big 12, they haven't really been. I mean,
Big Ten.
Big 10, sorry. They haven't been able to really figure it out as much as you would have liked them to, Caden, and they've really struggled last year. I just don't see a world where they come back all that better than they were a year ago, and I'm going to have to take the under again here.
Well, this is our first disagreement here. I do think we'll see UCLA become a bowl eligible team, and that's because they got Nico. I'm going to try to say this, Iamalieva as their new quarterback.
I totally forgot.
Left Tennessee in the offseason, transferred over to UCLA. His brother's his backup over there. I think it's a good spot for him. Nico showed up as a redshirt freshman last year for the Volunteers, was able to lead them to the playoffs, has some big games, has some big moments. I mean, look back to that Alabama game, made some big throws down the stretch. I think now you get him here, UCLA, a little fresh start. I think he's going to come in ready to go, ready to fire. And I think we could be in store for a good season, not only out of Nico, and then in return it would be the Bruins. So I have them over the 5.5. sitting around that. It's probably 6-7 win total come season's end, making a bowl game.
Okay, that's a fair point. I totally forgot about good old Nico making the transfer on over, but I'm still gonna stand by it. I don't know, regardless of better quarterback play, if everything around will come together, but they might make me eat my words. We'll see.
Now is the Minnesota Golden Gophers sitting at 6.5 wins here, with good old PJ Fleck still as the head coach.
Again, Caden, interesting with these middle of the pack teams, right? Because there are a couple games from either swinging or completely collapsing on the fence here. With being bowl eligible, obviously the expectation here with the over under for Minnesota is that they do get that bowl eligible status this season. And kind of like you said with UCLA, I really do see them around those 6 to 7 wins this year. I think the non-conference schedule favors them, and considering they are a little bit better towards the top of the conference, I do see them beating up on the lesser teams and being able to crack that over 6.5.
Yeah, I'm with you on here because looking at their schedule, like you said, it's a pretty easy non-conference, and they don't have to play a lot of the top. I mean, you have to play Ohio State and Oregon. You miss Penn State, and I mean, you get to play Wisconsin at home. You get to play Nebraska at home, Rutgers at home to open up conference play. That I think they could start off good out of conference, keep that going in. Probably start the year 4-0 before a loss to Ohio State, and then win 3 more games after that. I think I very well see that. I see them 7-8 wins this year. Right as with you. I think they will go over. Now our next 6.5, or actually, yeah, our last 6.5 win team is the Washington Huskies.
Caden, this one's interesting just because, Washington's been able to snag a few recruits this offseason. They've kind of been able to make some noise, Caden. And I think that momentum's going to actually propel them into having a pretty good, season. They've been known to have some pretty developed schemes within their offense and kind of air it out a little bit over the years, Caden. I kind of like, this team as one that could potentially be a boom team in this conference, maybe a potential little sneaky team, but give me over on this one.
Well, I'm going to disagree with you here. I'm not big on this Huskies team. I mean, 2 years ago, we saw them in the national championship. That roster was loaded, stacked, a lot of NFL talent. And now we see all that talent in the NFL. We've seen a lot of guys drafted from them over the last couple of years that you're not seeing a lot of those same big names, a lot of the more maybe stud type players on this roster. I think it might be a little bit of an uphill battle for them to get that 7-8 wins. I very well could see them finishing 6-6, maybe 5-7, like right around there. I think it's going to be just tough for them to get over that hump, become a 7-8 win team this year in the Big Ten, that I will have to ride the under with them here. Now moving on to our 7.5 win total teams for the Big Ten this year, starting off with the Illinois Fighting Illini.
Caden, this one's going to be pretty interesting because the nice thing about Illinois is they return a lot of guys from a season ago. And when you talk about a team that came out, really established themselves as a consistent brand of football, as being tough, being a team that's going to, play the run. They're going to want to run the ball. They're going to be defensive. They just find a way to compete in games, and they play gritty, Caden. This is such a fun team to, watch. We got to see a couple of their really fun games last year together as well. It's a team I've enjoyed. I'm going to have to take the over on them as well, Caden.
Yeah, I'm also taking the over. I think another year, Luke Altmaier over at quarterback is big for this team. Looked pretty good last year. Now you're getting another year of experience and just learning the system, learning his teammates all under the belt. I think we can see a step up for him, and that's going to propel their offense where, I mean, it's Big Ten football, so these teams like to run the ball.
Yeah.
But I think if you can get a little more expansion in the passing attack from Altmaier, I think you can just open up those lanes even more for this team. And you got a pretty easy out-of-conference schedule. You got a good in-conference schedule. Like, I don't know if they win. I doubt they win, but you get Ohio State at home, and that's your only really top-tier opponent on the schedule. No Penn State, no Oregon, nothing like that. So I think we see them 8-9, maybe pushing 10 wins come season's end.
And maybe snagging a playoff or bowl win in there.
Again, a bowl, and yeah, I mean, hey,
that's going to help the overs.
They did end the season last year winning their bowl game against South Carolina, a team that was really good last year. So, I mean, I think you build off that just another year. I think we'll be in for a good season for Illinois.
I think we're definitely in agreement on this one, Kate. It's going to be nice to watch Illinois this year.
How about the Iowa Hawkeyes also sitting at that 7.5?
Caden, this one's very interesting because Iowa put on some very exciting games a year ago, right? The foundation of this team has been their defense, right? Being able to limit the run, being able to play that hard-nosed, aggressive football. The nice thing with Iowa this year is they're gonna have more. They're gonna be favorited in majority of their games just based on the schedule wise. Caden, if you look at the non-conference, I kind of like where they sit at, but that's a lot of wins
It
to
is.
have to aim for, Caden. I don't think they're going to be necessarily a bad team, but I just think that over is just a little bit too tough for where I see this conference kind of playing out this season. I'm going to have to take the under on this one.
Yeah, this one is tough because, I mean, like you said, this is a team built on their defense. They've been pretty putrid offensively over this last handful of years. We saw it. I remember you seen stuff like there was a clause in the offensive coordinator's contract that's like, the team needs to average at least 20 points per game this year. You're canned. That's how bad the offense had been. I mean, you bring in Mark Gronowski, the quarterback from South Dakota State, who'd been really good at the FCS level. People thought maybe he would try to go pro at the end of last year's college football season. So to go up to the FBS, going to Iowa, I think that could be good for them to improve that offense. Still, it's Iowa, so I still don't have a lot of faith in that offense. And I mean, you have to play Iowa State out of conference, which that's tough. You have to play
rivalry.
Indiana, Penn State, Oregon, all in conference.
The gauntlets.
Like, it's going to be very tough, I think, for Iowa, like you're saying, to be an 8-9 win type of team that I think just kind of by default based on just they don't really have an offense. I mean, maybe Gronowski comes out and is awesome, and that could be cool, but he's unproven at the FBS level. You have a lot of guys. It's just not been a good offense for the last at least half decade. I don't know if they're going to be able to do enough on the defensive side, even though they are still a very good defense, to get 8-9 wins, go 8-4, 9-3, something like that. No, Iowa under just like you. How about the USC Trojans, though? Also sitting at that 7.5.
Ken, you know how much I like to weigh in the coaching factor when it comes to these, right? I'm a big believer in a good coach could drastically swing your over-under. That being said, USC has severely underperformed considering the immense amount of talent they've had on their rosters over the last few years. Not only that, you're coming into a season where you don't necessarily have that same level of, excitement, I would say, coming in. But that might be good for the USC Trojans, Caden. Maybe this is the season where they actually come in, not too much expectations on their shoulders. They kind of fly under the radar as not one of those top 3 or 4 teams in the conference and come out and surprise a couple people. I am not going to be the one to come out and believe in good old stinking Lincoln. The Trojans.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying it could happen. I'm taking the under.
Yeah, looking at their schedule, I had them right around a 6-6 team. So 2 wins shy of the 8 needed to go over. And like you said, it's just been ever since Lincoln Riley left Oklahoma to go over there, it's been just underperformance after underperformance over the last couple of years. I mean, you had the Heisman winner in Caleb Williams, and he had like 5 wins that year because of how putrid your defense was, giving up like 50 points a game. You thought Miller Moss was the answer last year. He didn't look good. Now he's transferred out. You're struggling to find a quarterback. You still got questions on the defensive side of the ball, questions offensively. I just don't see them as one of these upper teams in the Big Ten, especially sitting with at least 8 wins. No, I don't see that for this team. And now our last 7.5 win total is discount Patrick Mahomes and the Nebraska Cornhuskers.
Oh, Caden, you know how much I dislike discount Patrick Mahomes. But another year back with Matt Rule, in Matt Rule's 3rd year finally, is this going to be finally the year we see that, the program and the crumbs and the foundation of what he's been building over the last season is coming to fruition, Caden? Because this Nebraska team's been very inconsistent. We saw how excited and riled up they got to play against Colorado last year. That was like their Super Bowl. And then after that, it kind of got really ugly. They went on that big losing streak, Caden, after that. And they really kind of struggled to find their footing. They came back towards the end, were able to string together, a couple wins, which I think they could help build on. But again, with a team like Iowa, we talked about that 7.5 just being such a high clip in such a tough conference. It's so close, Caden. But I do really see this, Nebraska team being anywhere from that 6 to 8. I think 7.5 is a great line. But go ahead and smash the over.
The over?
I'm going to take the over on Nebraska.
Okay. Nebraska's weird because they haven't been good basically this century. Ever since they dominated 1900s college football, they were great then. And I mean, when I was at school in Nebraska, I remember all they hoped for was for them to be bowl eligible. That's all they hoped for.
Yeah.
Last year, they got their wish. They got the 6 wins, made a bowl game. Nebraska fans rejoice. And yeah, I mean, Dylan Raiola, I don't think he's a bad quarterback. I also don't think he's anything crazy good or something like that. We'll see now, though, sophomore year, what he can do to improve. 7.5's tough with them because they could very well start 3-0 out of conference, have some winnable games in conference. I like Matt Rule a lot. I think, especially at the college level, he's shown that he's able to turn some of these lesser programs around, get them good old Baylor, Houston, turn these guys around, make them competitive football teams. It's just, do I believe more in Matt Rule or the history of Nebraska?
Matt Rule and Dylan Raiola, they're combo.
Yeah, and as much as I like Matt Rule, I'm taking the under here. Got no faith in the Cornhuskers. In my lifetime, they haven't shown to me they can be that good at football, and I don't think this will be the first year they actually do show me.
Fair enough.
Now we get up to our 8.5 wins for the season, starting off with a very disappointing team from last year in the Michigan Wolverines.
Very disappointing team, Ken, but they were banged up. This was a team that just never really had an identity.
Mm-hmm. They had no quarterback play.
They had no quarterback play, swapping between two guys. It was just a nightmare situation. They did beat Ohio State, Ken.
They did beat Ohio State.
That was the highlight of their season. But I just am going to be interested to see, coming back this year, if they find their identity, if they figure it out.
And how good's Bryce Underwood?
And how good is Bryce Underwood? That's going to be the kind of big question, Caden. I don't know if you want to put a lot of stock into a freshman like that, Caden. It's going to be interesting to see, obviously had the big commitment. But, again, with how dangerous this conference is, I'm going to have to take the under being safe and not knowing the question marks.
9 wins is crazy, I think, kind of for this Michigan team. And, quick look at the schedule. I don't think they find a way to beat Ohio State again. I just don't to end the year.
And Ohio State's going to have their numbers so bad.
But also,
so bad.
They don't play Oregon. They don't play Penn State. You don't play Indiana. You get Purdue, Northwestern, Washington. This one's tough because their schedule isn't hard.
Yeah.
They got a pretty easy schedule.
They really missed out on all those teams. That is insane.
I think that's why they're up at 8.5 because, like you said, you don't know a true freshman's going to come in and be able to helm an offense, especially at the Big Ten level.
Correct.
Obviously, number one quarterback in the class. Yeah, but it's Big Ten football. You're running smash mouth football. You got big, good defenses. I don't know. I don't have a lot of faith in this team, but also their schedule's very easy. I don't know. They're not a 9-win. I think it's that. They're not a 9-win team. That even though this is like my 7th under in a row, or feels like it at least, I'm taking Michigan under the 8.5. And now the other 8.5 team though is Indiana.
Indiana's bringing a lot of guys back from a season ago. Not only that, they were bought in. This is a team that came out and proved a lot of people wrong. They played smash mouth football last year. Came out of the gate swinging, firing. I have no doubt in my mind that they're going to come back, recoup a lot of the same guys, a lot of the same mindset. There is no reason why they can't come out and crack that over on the win total this year.
Yep, this is finally, I'm not taking it under. I think Indiana, as much as I was hating on them last year, didn't believe they were good enough to be a playoff team. We saw that against Notre Dame or whatever. But you don't have to deal with Curtis Rourke as your quarterback. I think you upgrade a quarterback this year. You bring in Fernando Mendoza from Cal. I think he could be like a top 10-ish quarterback in college football this year.
Oh, wow.
Be one of those better guys, just got a strong arm, can launch the ball. I think that's good from schedule ain't too bad for him as well. All you have is Penn State. You have Penn State and Oregon. So that is a little tough. But even still, lose both those.
Still not.
I could still see you being 9-3, 10-2, even with both those losses. I like Indiana this year. I know you do too. So we both got them over that 8.5. And now we got 3 teams max sitting at 10.5 wins.
Three big ones.
The 3 big ones, starting off with everyone's favorite quarterback and Drew Aller and the Penn State and Indy Lions.
Looking at Penn State's schedule, Caden, this is going to be very interesting because obviously you saw the talent they lost a year ago. But they're bringing back a lot of that same offensive line room, a lot of the key pieces that
Still
made this
got
team.
Katron Allen, Nicholas Singleton,
Yeah, as long as they still have that duo back there and a core of this offensive line and a core what they want to do, there should be no reason why they're not right back in the college football playoff, running the football, trying to compete. This 10.5 wins is a long line, Caden. You're basically giving them only one or two losses on the schedule. But looking at it, it's very realistic. I don't think they're going to lose to Oregon, Caden. And then you look at them, where they're going to get 2 more losses from. I'm not sure. Give me the over on this team.
Yeah, this is tough because, like you said, they get to play Oregon at home. And then their other tough games are at Ohio State, and then they get to play Indiana at home. Where, I see them probably losing to Ohio State, probably beating Indiana. That Oregon game, I think that's the one that's going to determine if they go over or under. And it's their first game of conference play for Penn State. After they get a little warm up against Nevada, FIU, and Villanova.
Lovely.
You go right into Oregon. That, as much as I don't think Drew Aller's a good quarterback, and I'm going to stand by that, the rest of this team is very good.
Yeah.
They got a stacked defense. You got the best running back duo in college football, another year together, just dominate. And even though Drew Aller, I think, is definitely going to hold him back, hold him down, really the only loss I think I can give him right now is Ohio State. So kind of just like you, I'm going to give them the over on here at the 10.5. See them end up around that 11-win team.
Yep.
Now let's go to the other one, though, in Oregon, who we both think probably loses to Penn State, and they're also at 10.5.
Yeah, Caden, I see this Oregon team definitely being, one of the better ones in the conference. I'm just not as big as a fan as the Oregon Ducks as everyone else has been over the years. They've lost, some talent again. They've always been known to replace that. That hasn't been an issue. But this is an Oregon team that, again, didn't live up to expectations last year. Coming back, I do see them taking a step back a little bit, Caden, not hitting this over 10.5. But you're still talking about 9-10 wins. That's still a great college football regular season, Caden. It's not a knock. I just think with this conference, they're going to lose, potentially to an Indiana or Ohio State or, in Penn State like that. I talked about that. That's 3 losses right there. Give me the under.
Yeah, I'm with you on the under. I think we've seen. I really like Dan Lanning as a coach. I think he's great. But for the first time in a while, they don't have like a very experienced vet at quarterback.
Yeah.
Where you're coming from Bo Nix to now Dylan Gabriel, who is the most starts ever by a college quarterback. Bo Nix is right up there as well.
So he was before Bo Nix, yeah.
And now you're throwing in someone who's been sitting behind Dylan Gabriel, like sitting behind the last two, doesn't have a lot of experience. I think that can hurt them. And even so, I don't think, like you said, I don't think they're going to be as good as they were last year. They went undefeated in the regular season, won the conference championship, all that stuff. I just don't see that out of this Oregon team. Like I said, 9-10 wins, probably pretty realistic for them. And that's still the under of that 10.5. I just think we're not going to see them pushing for another undefeated regular season or even a 1-loss season. So, yeah, with you there, give me the under on the Oregon Ducks. That leaves our final team sitting at 10.5 in the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Which we're taking the over.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's what I have to say.
Yeah, no. It's interesting because, they do play Texas week 1. That should be a great game.
But that wouldn't – oh, this is okay. I guess we're not.
They're going to play Penn State at home, but I see Ohio State winning that.
Yeah, that game was interesting.
They don't play Oregon. I think they beat Michigan. Really, the only loss I think I could give them right now, maybe, is the Texas Longhorns.
Yeah, like I said, I really like the schedule. Like you said, Caden, let's talk about a team that's coming back off of, off a natty. Times are going to be really good. They're going to be highly motivated and hungry to come back and do it again. The guys who didn't have a chance to play a season ago or who are new are going to want to come in and fill that role. They're still returning a lot of key people. That's what,
Still got Jeremiah Smith.
Baby. Yeah, when you look at the core of the players on all these top 4 teams with these win totals, the reason why they're so high is because they're bringing so many good guys back. I think you got to take that into a factor. They're going to win this conference. and I think they're going to smash that over.
Okay, yeah, I was just gonna say, let's go into our conference champion. You think Ohio State? Who do you have them beating?
Now this is where it gets interesting, Caden.
Penn State, Oregon,
It's going to
Indiana.
be Penn State or Indiana. I do not see Oregon in this championship game this year for sure, but I'm going to ride with the Nittany Lions. You know how much I love offensive line play. You know how much I love smash mouth football, running the ball. And when you got two of the best running backs in college football, it's going to make for an exciting championship game.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it'll be between Penn State, Indiana, on who we facing. Ohio State, I just think Indiana's going to lose one or two more conference games than what Penn State ends up doing. Because, like I said, I see Penn State probably sitting at that 11 wins. So
Yeah.
I don't think Indiana's going to be that good. I could see them finishing 9-10 wins, but that's just not going to be good enough. But I do think we see a Penn State, Ohio State conference championship with, just like you were saying, with Ohio State, with the Buckeyes winning the conference championship, getting that auto bid into the college football playoffs.
Most definitely. Well, make sure you guys stay tuned and follow to see our picks next week. Caden, what should these people do before they go?
Yeah, if you guys enjoyed, make sure to leave a like down below, comment down below as well. What do you think of our picks? Anything you guys would change? Who's your pick to win the conference this year in the Big Ten? Turn on post notifications so you never miss an upload, and share this with your friends, family, strangers, neighbors, anything like that.
Most definitely. We appreciate you. We thank you all for listening. We'll see you all next time.